Today I'm going to be taking a look at Lost Patrol, a board game re-released earlier this year by Games Workshop. I recently picked this up at the Nova Open, where it was given out as part of the prize bag I won for the narrative event. I'd been eyeing it already beforehand, and I was excited to give it a shot. If Space Hulk is essentially aliens on the tabletop, then this is Predator, the board game. The Marine player takes on a squad of 5 scouts through an ever-changing jungle as they try to find their dropship and get home. The second player plays the Gene Stealers, or Lurkers in the 2000 version, whose job is to ambush and overrun the Marines at every turn. The game ends when the Marines get to T'Challa, or they're all dead. I'll let you guess which one is more likely. The box art is pretty indicative of what you're getting. A shot straight out of an action movie with a determined squad of scouts holding off against a horde of alien terrorists surrounding them. After opening the box, the first thing I noticed was the funky hand-painted art on the tiles. It's the same as the art in the 2000 version, which scratches a nostalgic itch for me. The models included are pretty solid too, being the stock Space Marine Scout and Gene Stealer models you get in the standard 40k troop boxes. Personally, I'm not a fan of the Scout heads, so I replaced mine with heads from the Scout Biker kit along with some other minor conversions, but they're suitable models for the tabletop and pretty involved for a board game. They come in pre-colored plastic, but I made a point to paint mine, because if I'm going to play this game, it's going to look as good as it can. After playing a few rounds, I really get why they called it Lost Patrol. This game is really difficult for the Marine player, bordering on unfair. They're always in the back foot, being especially vulnerable in melee, and only killing a Gene Stealer on a 6 with shooting. The Marines are also restricted to moving along the paths that their opponent puts down, meaning they could end up in dead ends, tangleweed, or in an endless jungle loop that spells an instant game over. Meanwhile, the Gene Stealers move faster, further, have infinite numbers, and can both move and attack through any tiles, including jungle walls. This definitely creates an air of tension for the Marine player, knowing that death and defeat could always be just around the corner. It requires careful planning and good luck to make it out alive. As for the tiles, there's 30, including the initial clearing tile and the dropship, so you've always got this visual reminder of how far away you are from survival. It adds to the tension, but it can make the ending kinda predictable. I played throughout 20 rounds of this game with my dad in preparation for this video. The game can be incredibly quick, sometimes lasting just a few minutes. I wasn't kidding when I said it was hard though. We started playing it more like a score attack game, seeing who could get closest to the dropship tile, but even after half a dozen rounds of switching sides, the closest either of us got was 8 tiles away. About that time, we started pulling up house rules. The base game came out over 15 years ago, so there's more than a few floating out there. We found some from Spiky Bits that made things too easy for the Marine player, and just straight up boring for the Gene Stealer player, limiting the bugs to just 1 activation per turn and giving the Marines way too many dice to play with. We also tried the Terminator rules that the new White Dwarf put out for Lost Patrol, which adds dice to the Marine shooting and keeps the Marines from falling back, but also limits them to 2 men per tile instead of 3. This invariably meant that somebody got caught in a tile all alone and promptly murdered. The house rules we finally settled on gave the Marine players 1 extra die each for shooting and limited the Gene Stealers to 2 actions per turn instead of 3. We also shuffled the dropship tile into the bottom third of the deck, so it would be a little less predictable. My dad finally won a game as the Marines with this, and I'd recommend doing something similar. Overall, I think it's a neat little game, albeit a fairly limited one. It was clearly put together as a budget package for Games Workshop, reusing the tile art and rule set of the original game with existing models instead of new or bespoke sculpts like they've done for some of their other games. I still think it can be a fun time though, and if the CIA hasn't got you pushing too many pencils, you should give it a shot. Thanks for watching my Lost Patrol review. I don't play a lot of board games, but I had this one lying around and it seems to fit with the channel, so I thought I'd give it a shot. If you'd like to see more board game reviews, army overviews, or something like that, let me know in the comments, and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with everything going on with the channel. I've also got social media of all sorts, so you can follow me there, and I hope to see you next time.